It was a 8-game homestand, and the Rockies went 0-8 at Coors Field. They're playing much better on the road. 18-25 on the year now. 22-22 are the Miami Marlins they will face to begin this road trip today. Lots of changes for the Rockies in terms of their roster. Murphy, Dahl, and Arenado, you can see, are all still here. But big changes we'll talk about as this game goes on. First things first, Jose Urena is going to get the start for Miami. 3-3 on the year, 3.77 ERA, 36 strikeouts to 17 walks. He's allowed 48 hits in 45 and a third innings. This is his 8th start of the season. Sorry, his 9th start. He has made 8 starts this year. So Rockies right now are just a half game ahead of the D-backs for last place in the National League West as David Dahl leads off. Giants have now moved a game and a half ahead of the Rockies for 3rd place, and the Padres are 2 ahead of the Dodgers in the NL West. Urena's first pitch to Dahl is swung on and pulled foul. Dahl, good numbers against Urena in his career, 4 hits and 6 at-bats, very small sample, 277 on the year for David Dahl.
First pitch, 7-11.
The 0-1 is swung on and lifted in the air towards shallow right center field. And that is out number 1. Let's look at the lineup for the Rockies. Not a whole lot of differences that you can tell from this view. After Dahl batting second, the shortstop Trevor Story, batting third in right field Charlie Blackmon, batting cleanup the third baseman Nolan Arenado, batting fifth at first base Daniel Murphy, batting sixth at second base Ryan McMahon, batting seventh in left field is Sam Hilliard, and batting eighth the catcher Tony Wolters, starting pitcher today Antonio Senzatella. Trevor Story, 263 on the year, first pitch from Urena is swung on and ripped foul and out of play. Roof is closed here as it is raining outside, some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the Miami area. 9 homers, 25 driven in on the year for Story, a very good 853 OPS for him. 0-1 delivery from Urena is taken low and inside. Third place in the NL East are the Marlins. They're at 500 on the year. Rockies have played much better on the road than at home. Mentioned that 0-8 stretch they just got off at home after sweeping the Tigers on the last road trip to end things. 1-1 pitch from Urena is swung on and grounded towards short, and that is going to be out number 2.
Batting first, the right fielder, number 19,
Charlie Blackmon will be the batter. 304, 9 home runs, 24 runs batted in, a .578 slugging percentage. Very nice stretch right now for Charlie Blackmon, really getting things going. And into his motion, the first pitch from Urena is taken low, ball 1. Blackmon sitting on 181 career home runs across parts of 9 seasons. So here are the changes that the Rockies made prior to this game. The Sim Rockies. We'll tell you after this 1-0 pitch. Sorry to keep you hanging here. That's in there for a strike. 97-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball from Jose Urena. And the 1-1 is swung on and pulled foul. So German Marquez and Jairo Diaz were optioned to AAA. They have been really struggling as of late. And also Raimel Tapia designated for assignment. There's a ground ball foul. Tapia out of options, could not be sent to AAA without his consent, and the Rockies had a full 40-man roster. So Tapia being DFA'd, as we call it. 1-2 pitch to Blackmon is swung on and lined right to the second baseman in the shift. And that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the first. VR, Rojas, Dickerson due up for the Marlins. Antonio Senzatella making the start today, is 9th of the year. 5.67 ERA, 33 and a third innings pitched, 29 strikeouts, 11 walks, 150 his whip, 39 hits allowed. 0-2, still looking for that first win of the year, and Rockies tend to get things going on the road, so this could be the opportunity he's been waiting for. So we told you about those options and DFAs for the Rockies as Jonathan VR leads things off. 10 stolen bases on the year, that's 3rd place in the NL for him. Ryan Castellani was called up. He's expected to start tomorrow's ball game as VR grounds one foul. Joe Harvey, we saw him a little bit last year. His contract was selected with the DFA of Tapia, so now Harvey added to the 40-man roster and then called up. 0-1 pitch from Senzatella is swung on and lined. Fair ball. Arenado knocks it down. He's not going to have a play. That'll be a leadoff infield single. It should be for Jonathan Villar, and it will be. And also Josh Fuentes recalled from AAA. We mentioned him in a couple of our latest Road to the Show reports. He is doing quite well, especially lately, hitting well over 500 over his last 10 games. Miguel Rojas. Very good start to his year, 338 average. First pitch from Senzatella is taken inside, ball one. And a note about our sim broadcasts. We are going to, from here on out, until if and when Spring Training 2.0 and real Major League life starts, we'll just be broadcasting the first game of each series to you, and then if the Rockies are in line to sweep a game 2, 3, or 4, then we will bring that game to you as well. So we're here for the first game of this series against the Marlins. Then if the Rockies win tomorrow, which will not be broadcasted, we will have a broadcast for you on Sunday. Otherwise, we will see you Tuesday when the Rockies head to Chicago for a quick 2-game set to finish off the road trip. Check swing, and Rojas goes too far, 1-2 the count. So there are some housekeeping items for you, and now we'll enjoy the rest of this ball game. Antonio Senzatella's 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed. That one was in the dirt. And moving up to second base will be Villar. Rojas strikes out, and there's one away. First strikeout is the first out of the day for Antonio Senzatella. Castellani is only on 4 days rest, so not going to get the start right away. Corey Dickerson, former Rocky, off to quite a start for his new home in Miami. 361 on the year. Batting on base percentage up over 400. He swings and skies one towards deep right center field. Blackman's going back on this one. He's at the track. That ball is going to get down and bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. 13th double of the year for the former Rocky. Corey Dickerson gets the Marlins on the board early, 1-0. And Villar will score. So Marlins will play from in front early. Garrett Cooper, the batter, 244 on the year, 2 homers, 15 runs batted in, a 681 OPS. Lots of new faces for the Marlins this year. They did their best to at least field a semi-competitive team, which did not seem to be the case last year. I think the expectation, even though they're third place right now, is that they'll still finish towards the bottom of the NL East. I was certainly predicting them in last place, but they've overperformed thus far. There's a pitch low, 2-0. Corey Dickerson signed a 2-year, $17.5 million deal. They also brought in reliever Brandon Kinsler on a 1-year, $3.25 million deal with a $4 million club option for next year. Signed catcher Francisco Cervelli to a 1-year, $2 million deal. Outfielder Matt Joyce to a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. And former Dodger reliever Yimi Garcia to a 1-year, $1.1 million deal. There's a swing and a miss. 2-1 the count on Cooper. A few trades and claims as well. They acquired Jonathan Villar from the Orioles for minor league lefty Easton Lucas. That should certainly help them out. Saw Villar come around to score the first run of this ball game. There's a swing and a miss. Count evens at 2 on Cooper. Stephen Tarpley was acquired from the Yankees for minor league third baseman James Nelson and cash considerations. Lots of other minor league deals. There's a pitch in the dirt. Gets away momentarily from Wolters, but not enough for anyone Dickerson to advance. Brian Anderson is waiting on deck. He's off to a bit of a slow start this year. Senzatella's 3-2 delivery is just a bit outside, ball 4. He walked him. And that'll put a couple runners on for Brian Anderson now. A couple other minor league transactions for the Marlins. They acquired minor league infielder Angedi Santos from the Red Sox for righty Austin Bryce. Acquired minor league outfielder Dioil Burgos from the Cardinals for outfielder Austin Dean, and acquired minor league catcher Jose Estrada from the Angels for righty Kyle Keller, and selected righty Sterling Sharp from the Nationals in the Rule 5 draft. And another big addition for them, they claimed first baseman Jesus Aguilar off waivers from the Rays. He's been struggling in the later portions of his career after a really good season with the Brewers a couple years ago. Rockies saw him certainly hit well against them in the National League Division Series in 2018. Talk about minor league deals for the Marlins after this 2-0 pitch from Senzatella. And it's swung on and lifted in the air towards left field. This is deep. Hilliard's going back. He's at the track, and he's going to watch it go. 3-run home run for Brian Anderson, his 6th home run of the year. And that will extend Miami's lead here in the bottom of the first. 385 feet, the estimated distance, 97.5 mile per hour, the exit velocity for Brian Anderson. And 0-8 stretch right now for the Rockies, and early on the Marlins have taken a 4-3 lead and 4-0 lead in the first game of this road trip. And things are not going well, to put it mildly, for the Rockies right now. We'll bring up Kyle Isbell, 192 with a homer on the year. Bud Black wondering what is going on. It was a pretty solid start to the year for the Rockies, really hanging around in a couple games above the 500 mark, but it's been a stretch of unthinkably bad baseball lately. There's a pitch that misses just a bit outside, 2-0. Kyle Isbell came over in a simulated trade with the Royals to the Marlins. Isbell is just 23 years old, turned 23 on March the 3rd. And he was in the Royals organization and still is in real life, but was traded over here in a simulated situation, maybe claimed in the Rule 5 draft. Played in the Arizona Fall League last year, got all-star honors there, and never got above the Class A advanced level, played with the Wilmington Blue Rocks last year, but evidently the Marlins figured it was time for him to get on up, even though no appearances in AA or AAA for him. 3-2 pitch is swung on and hits into right field, a base hit. And another hit keeps the line moving for Miami. Jorge Alfaro, the other catcher, we mentioned Francisco Cervelli, will bat now. Alfaro, 333 on the year. The number 7 batter for Miami today. Senzatella's first pitch on its way is taken high. Do not like to see these well over 20 pitch first innings from Rockies starters. We saw it from Gray and Marquez their last 2 times out, and Marquez getting option to AAA in our simulation just cannot get things going. ERA well over 7 for him now, allowed 7 runs in not even 2 full innings yesterday. There's a pitch outside, 2-0. It's a pitch out. 12 of 24 pitches for strikes from Senzatella this inning. 12 have missed the zone. Here's some minor league signings for the Marlins. See if you recognize any of these names. Matt Kemp. Well, Rockies certainly have got to see him a few times in the Dodgers and Padres organizations. Brad Boxberger. That's a former Padre. Sean Rodriguez. Josh A. Smith. Ryan Lavarnway. Pat Venditti, the ambidextrous reliever. And Ryan Cook. Also a lot of notable losses. We'll talk about those in a moment. 3-0 pitch is in there for a called strike. That's inside, ball 4. He walked him in. The line will keep moving for the Marlins. Still just 1 out here in the bottom of the first.
Batting in, the center fielder,
Matt Joyce will bat, 260 on the year, 3 homers, 10 runs batted in. Notable losses for the Marlins this offseason. Starlin Castro went over to the Nationals. Wei-Yin Chen, Harleen Garcia, JT Riddle, Tyrone Guerrero, Tyler Kinley is claimed by the Rockies. He'll get to make a homecoming here. Hopefully he'll get some save situations. Didn't have any of those on the last homestand. Hector Noesi no longer with the Marlins. Brian Holiday, Jose Quijada, Brian Moran, and a couple retirees, Martin Prado and Curtis Granderson, both retiring after their final seasons with Miami. MLB trade rumors, as they always do for every single major league club, has their offseason in review on their websites, and it's always very nice and fun to read. Swinging a fly ball towards shallow left field. Coming in on this one is Hilliard. He will make the catch, and that's finally the second out. And throw back to second will get the leadoff runner. And that was a base running mistake. We're through an inning of play. It's 4-0 Marlins. They gift the Rockies that final out.
Leading off from the Rockies, the third baseman.
Nolan Arenado has been struggling a little bit. 6 for his last 30 at the plate. That's a 200 average. Still 307 overall, 11 homers, 31 driven in, but not quite the stretch Arenado was on to start the year. First pitch is going to be in there for a called strike. Arenado, the only Rocky who has not received a day off this year. He's played in all the games so far. He has 4 hits in his career against Urania. 2 of those have been home runs. Rockies have some decent numbers against Urania up and down the lineup, so that could be some good news as they try to get things going again. Ground ball to short, and that's going to be out number 1. Look at the defense for the Marlins. Left to right in the outfield, Corey Dickerson, Matt Joyce, and Kyle Eastbell. Infield corners, Brian Anderson and Garrett Cooper. Up the middle of the double play combination, Miguel Rojas and Jonathan Villar. And the battery consists of the catcher, Jorge Alfaro, and the starting pitcher, Jose Urania. So Dickerson playing in left field. He won a Gold Glove there for, I forget which team it was for. I believe it was with the Pirates a few years ago, and Rockies did not get used to seeing Gold Glove defense from Corey Dickerson when he played for them. Ground ball at the middle into center field out the bat of Daniel Murphy, went out hit, and the line will keep moving for the Rockies here in the second inning. So it was something of a role reversal this offseason, MLB Trade Rumors writes, when the Marlins took an undesirable contract off of a rebuilding team's hands when they landed Jonathan Villar. And what was really a salary dump for the Orioles. You're used to seeing those kind of moves for the Marlins. And it was looking like the Orioles did not want to pay. Jonathan Villar had a good year last year, but the Orioles did not want to pay his arbitration salary. And ended up going over to Miami, and they avoided arbitration with an $8.2 million salary for 2020. Strike to Ryan McMahon. Even at $8.2 million, I should say, Villar was too expensive for Baltimore, as they said. Baltimore really stripping their roster down. They were looking to go through a lengthy rebuild for them in the AL East. So the Marlins were in position to add that quality second baseman. He had a 4 WAR last season, did Jonathan Villar. Marlins apparently have said they're also going to be trying Villar in center field for a time or two because they want to see what Isan Diaz can do. Villar is playing second base today. So swing and a miss, McMahon strikes out. He struck out 3 times yesterday while also homering. It's going to be the first strikeout of the day for Urania. And Rockies want to be careful if they ever end up hitting any home runs in this game against Urania. He doesn't take too kindly to that. Even if you don't hit a home run against him, remember his situation a couple years ago when he decided to take it upon himself to, I guess, get back at Ronald Acuna Jr. for being too good of a baseball player. Decided to hit him. Acuna would eventually get his revenge hitting a home run of his own off of Urania. Sam Hilliard fouls on a play. Quite a struggle for Sam Hilliard right now. For 15th round pick in the 2015 draft, only hitting .077 on the year. Struck out 3 times in 3 at-bats yesterday. And he swings and chops one foul, 1-2 the count. And swing and a miss, he strikes out one more time, and there are 2 away. Sorry, that'll retire the side. And we go to the bottom of the second, 4-0 Miami Marlins. Bottom of the second inning, Jose Urania leads things off, .083 on the year for the pitcher. Not quite 30 pitches in the first inning for Antonio Senzatella. That's the good news. So Isan Diaz not starting today. We mentioned Jonathan Villar might get some time in the outfield to give their prospect Diaz some time. But Diaz has really struggled. In 2019 and 201 plate appearances, had only a 566 OPS, so he's really been struggling against major league pitching. This is a ground ball hit towards first base. Murphy will take it himself for out number 1. Defense for the Rockies now, left to right in the outfield. We have Sam Hilliard, David Dahl, Charlie Blackmon. Infield corners, Nolan Arenado, Daniel Murphy. Up the middle double play combination, Trevor Story and Ryan McMahon. In the battery is the catcher, Tony Wolters, and the starting pitcher, Antonio Senzatella. Hey, look at that. Rockies are up to 13th now in the NL. They were in last place in terms of defense, fielding percentage at least. Gotten back up now. Jonathan Villar, 255 with a 359 on base percentage, 382 slugging. Singled and scored his first time up, so a very solid Villar-like season he's having so far. And the 1-0 is taken for a strike. I mean, there's no harm in seeing if Villar can work out in the outfield, because Lewis Brinson, you may remember him ever since he came over in the Christian Yelich trade, which has been an absolute steal for the Brewers, who've now signed Yelich to an extension. Brinson was a former top prospect, and he has really struggled since coming over to Miami. But probably the biggest addition this offseason was Corey Dickerson for the Marlins, that $17.5 million 2-year deal. They really needed to upgrade the outfield. In fact, they have been floated around. They were floated around as pursuing names, as there's a fly ball to center field. Dahl does not even move, makes the catch for out number 2. They were rumored to be interested in Yasiel Puig, Cole Calhoun, who ended up signing with the D-backs. Visael Garcia, we saw him with Milwaukee. Even Nick Castellanos was with the Reds, and Marcell Ozuna now with the Braves were considered, apparently. Yasiel Puig is still free agent and transaction freeze across Major League Baseball due to COVID-19, so he will not be signing, at least in the short term. But the Marlins really had an interest in expanding their payroll this year. At least they were going to be willing to do so. Castellanos signed a pretty lengthy deal with the Reds. It was only a 1-year deal, ended up being for Marcell Ozuna. Dickerson is 30 years old. He had a really rough year with injury last year, but when healthy, hit 304, 341 on base percentage, 565 slugging between the Pirates and Phillies, 279 plate appearances. Pop up to shallow center. That's going to drop for a base hit. Two-out single for Miguel Rojas, who's on a 13-game hitting streak right now, and Corey Dickerson, who doubled his first time up, will come to the plate. Dickerson, anything close to those numbers that he put up last year, and you can see what he's doing right now, 365, 426, 616 is his triple slash. Fly ball to shallow left field. Hilliard comes and makes the catch, and that will retire the side. After 2 innings, it's 4-0 Miami. Tony Wolters leads off, 430 OPS on the year, 165 batting average, no homers, 10 driven in. Really rough stretch for Wolters right now. 4-0 Marlins here in the 3rd inning. That's inside, ball 1. Wolters was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in yesterday's ball game. Also reached on an error, a 2-base error. A really odd-looking play by Mike Yastrzemski in left field. 1-0 pitch is swung on and fouled back. Marlins, we mentioned, also added Jesus Aguilar, who they claimed off waivers. Again, he hit 35 home runs in 2018, so they're just hoping that he can get some things going. Maybe best suited as a DH type, but he will get some action for the Marlins. Garrett Cooper also at first base today. Matt Joyce is playing center field. And they're also going to look at options in the mix. Utility man John Birdie, and other outfield options like Magneuris Sierra and Harold Ramirez. Swing and a miss. Wolters strikes out. 3rd strikeout of the day for Urania. That's out number 1 here in the 3rd.
Batting ninth, the pitcher, number 49, Antonio Senzatella.
Jorge Alfaro, the primary catcher. Francisco Cervelli, mostly in a backup role, though Cervelli does have better numbers in terms of defense than Alfaro. So swing and a miss by Antonio Senzatella. There's Brian Anderson. You saw him. He's playing third base today. He's taken a bit of a step back. But Miami's offense could come as a surprise to a lot of pitchers. We see they're 500 on the year, so they've really been better than expected, and they certainly got to Antonio Senzatella in that first inning. Pitch inside. Hitters count on Antonio Senzatella. Also a bit of a revamped bullpen. Brandon Kinsler looks to be the closer. He had a very solid 2019 season with the Cubs. Hasn't closed for a while, a few years since he was closing for the Twins, but they've also got Ryan Stanek, very good reliever. Former All-Star closer Brad Boxberger, and Yimi Garcia, who was non-tendered by the Dodgers this offseason. He's very intriguing. His peripheral numbers show that Senzatella lines went into center field, a base hit, went out single for Senzatella here in the third. As Yimi Garcia's peripheral show, there's some talent beyond how many home runs Yimi Garcia has allowed. I remember looking this up, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I'll do it again to see just how many home runs Garcia gave up. In 2018, he allowed 7 home runs in only 22 and a third innings, 15 homers last year in 62 and a third innings. And otherwise, you look at the strikeout to walk ratio, it is very good. Good ground ball rate as well. Had a 3.61 ERA last year. It's just the trouble with home runs for Yimi Garcia, but Marlins hoping to get some value out of him. And of course, playing at Marlins Park could certainly help that, though we saw Brian Anderson showed he could hit a home run earlier. David Dahl takes a pitch outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Neil Walker also no longer with the Marlins. It's weird though, because despite the $24.35 million they spent on, they're going to bring in an off-season free agent contracts, losing guys like Martin Prado, Starlin Castro, Curtis Granderson, Neil Walker is going to bring their projected payroll down from 2019 when it was $71.9 million. It's projected to be at $68.925 million this year.
Now back, shortstop, Trevor Story.
Ball, that's inside.
Oh for 1 on the day for Trevor Story. Apologies, we had some audio technical difficulties there. 2-1 the count on Trevor Story. And Ureña's pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. So we were talking about the payroll actually going down for the Marlins because they ended up bringing in, just letting go of some of the veteran contracts, and there actually might be better players for them this year, even though they're not paying as much. Swing and a miss, Story strikes out. We go to the bottom of the third, 4-0 Miami. Bottom of the third inning, 4-0 Marlins. Garrett Cooper drew a walk in his first plate appearance. He will lead things off against Antonio Senzatello's at 40 pitches. First pitch is taken low and away, ball one. Cooper, the 6th round pick by the Marlins a few years ago. 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike on the outside corner. And that is not correct to say he was a 6th round pick by the Marlins. He was drafted initially by the Brewers in 2013. So spent time in the Yankees organization. Made his major league debut with the Yankees in 2017 before coming over to the Marlins prior to the 2018 season. 2-2 pitch from Senzatella, swung on and pulled foul. So while the Marlins did bring in some talented players and certainly were active this offseason, the MLB Players Association filed an amended grievance against the Marlins as well as the Pirates and Rays for their use of revenue-sharing funds in both the 2018-19 offseason and the 2017-18 offseason. And none of those clubs really broke the bank over the last few months. Again, we mentioned the Marlins, despite their additions, have gone below where they were in terms of payroll last year. There's a pitch in the dirt for ball 4. The Rays did not do a whole lot this offseason. The Pirates especially blew up their team. But the Marlins have been very clear about their intention to build around young talent and not do those quick fix splurges of that Jeffrey Loria did. You saw quite the struggles during his tenure, his very controversial tenure as Marlins owner. Derek Jeter now at the helm for the Marlins, in case you somehow missed that news. However, it looks like certainly the worst is behind the Marlins in this current stretch of this current era of Marlins baseball. Brett Anderson homered his first time up, takes a strike, 1-2 the count. The Marlins have a lot of controllable rotation arms. We see Urania today, also Caleb Smith, Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez. Potential if they can get things going this year. Swing and a miss. Brian Anderson strikes out for the first out of the third inning. Second strikeout of the day for Senzatella.
Now batting, right fielder, Kyle Isbell.
Marlins lost 105 games last year. And the NL East looks quite competitive, but it looks like certainly the Marlins have improved. They're at the 500 mark in our simulation. Again, a lot of people, including myself, expect them to be at the bottom of the NL East when all is said and done. It was a pretty good offseason for them. Kyle Isbell base hit his first time up, 6 for 27 on the year for the 23-year-old, who's never played above Class A Advanced, but ends up getting the call this year for the Marlins. 0-1 pitch is in there for a called strike. Quickly 0-2 on Isbell. Good news out of Rockies camp. Thomas Harding of MLB.com reporting, and the Rockies announcing Rockies teamed with fans to help distribute masks. 0-2 pitch is going to miss inside. Christina Martinez and Paul Drake are a couple Rockies fans from Pueblo, and they and their families wanted to help provide protective non-surgical masks for people who need them the most, and the Rockies helped them out in that. This week, in fact, was the distribution of non-surgical masks that the family constructed. Pitch in the dirt. Wolters will block it. And they were constructed out of Rockies game-used and promotional items. Line drive to shallow right field. Blackman coming in. He'll have to play it on a hop. And runners will be on the corners with one out now for the Marlins. So those masks were distributed throughout the UC Health system to Rockies community partners such as Denver Rescue Mission, Food Bank of the Rockies, local Boys and Girls Clubs, and others. And fans who approached via social media describing their need are also receiving them. And it became a larger project when Julian Valentine, the director of brand management and social media for the Rockies, really got the ball rolling on that. And Julian is really great work over at the Rockies' social media accounts. Rockies have the best Twitter account by far in the game of baseball. But Thomas Harding told the story of how that all came about. Pick it up after this pitch, swing and a miss. And third strikeout of the day for Antonio Senzatella. 2 outs now in the third. As Alfaro goes down by way of the K. And Matt Joyce will be the batter. So Christina Martinez, works from home as a medical coder. But her sister, Karen LaRoche, who is working at a blood plasma donation clinic in Everett, Washington, there's a ground ball to short. Never start a Story with 2 outs. Story makes the play, and that'll retire the side. After this break, we'll have the 4th inning, and Blackman Arenado Murphy do up for you. We'll tell you more about this story of the Rockies fans doing good work in the community. Charlie Blackman leads off the top of the 4th inning. 3, 4, 5 hitters do it for the Rockies. Urania back out for another inning of work. Pitch misses low and away. Blackman 4 for 16 with a double in his career against Urania. So, Christina Martinez, Rockies fan, works from home as a medical coder, and her sister Karen LaRoche is working at a blood plasma clinic in Washington State. They needed help. Washington was one of the early hotspots, if you remember, after the beginnings of the COVID-19 outbreak. There's a line drive towards left center field off the bat of Blackman. Cutting it off is Dickerson. That'll be a leadoff single for Blackman in the 4th as the Rockies offense tries to get things going early on. So Martinez and her mother Martha are avid quilters with a lot to do while sheltering, so they had materials to make the personal protective equipment, which was scarce, had materials to make that for LaRoche. You follow Christina Martinez on Twitter at OrangeChristina. And she mentioned she could make masks, and suddenly she began making them for friends, friends of friends, strangers, people they know on Twitter, people they don't know on Twitter. And some began making requests for designs from fans such as the Rockies and the NFL's Denver Broncos. And then the other half of the equation, Paul Drake, worked in the medical field as a respiratory therapist and was a director of a department for 12 years. Now, after retiring, he owns and operates Twisted Rabbit Creations with his wife Angela and daughter Erin Crawford. The company sells handcrafted bath products at events throughout Colorado. Drake said that their son, son-in-law, and daughter work at the state hospital, and they came home one day with these throwaway masks. And he said, "This is what they're giving us." Fly ball to center field. Nolan Arenado flies out for out number 1. And they wanted to know if, their parents and their in-laws could make something better for them. And they certainly did that. Now they're getting orders, working 14 hours a day to try to keep up with everything. The Drakes went public and sold packages of 3 masks and bars of soap on the company website, marketed on social media. Drake said, given his background, he also felt a need to do something for these folks out there on the front lines. So the Rockies, Valentine worked through Twitter to contact Christina Martinez, ground ball to second base, and tagging the runner for 1 is VR back to first, double play. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th and finish up this story. It's 4-0 Miami. Don Mattingly's Marlins have a 4-0 lead here in the bottom of the 4th. Jeff Hoffman and newly called up Joe Harvey are starting to warm in the bullpen for the Rockies. Jose Urania leads things off, grounded out his first time up. Antonio Senzatella out for a 4th inning of work. First pitch to Urania is taken high, ball 1. So, Julian Valentine, guru of social media for the Rockies, worked with Twitter to contact Christina Martinez and Paul Drake, a couple Rockies fans from Pueblo, who wanted to provide the PPE to those who needed them most. And Valentine donated a huge haul of used and unused Rockies memorabilia, including T-shirts, caps, jerseys, anything in purple, black, and gray that the club could spare. And the work on the part of the families was also donated. There was no licensing red tape, Thomas Harding writes. And as the week continues, hundreds of people who are helping others are going to have masks.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Julian said, as soon as we connected via direct message on Twitter, they were wanting to help however they could. They were already making masks for people in their community and on their own time. Christina and her mom live next door, and they were making the masks in the basement for their family and friends. The Drakes own a small business and had to adapt, and they wanted to help people. The masks now are not intended for surgical use, as Urania strikes out for out number 1. They're to be used to lessen the chance that the wearer, who may or may not be asymptomatic, transmits the virus to others. And both families took measures to ensure that masks are effective. T-shirts, for example, are a bit thin for masks, so the Drakes used some of their own material for backing and left a pouch for a filter. Martinez's family developed a triple layer technique. Jonathan VR 1 for 2 singled and scored earlier in this one. Takes first pitch strike. Materials may have been leftovers and holdovers, but there were a few real gems, Paul Drake said. He even brought a Todd Helton jersey, Julian did, that he couldn't bring himself to cut, Paul Drake said. It's hanging in his closet. They sent him a batting warm-up hoodie that was actually David Dahl's. And Paul Drake told Julian, I'm sorry, I can't cut this up. Christina Martinez said that this is her family's way of dealing with persistent and often frightening news of the havoc COVID-19 has created. Fly ball to center. Dahl makes the catch for out number 2. Martinez said they were just watching too much of the news, getting too worried about the effects it could have on their son Braden with all the complications from asthma that he has. So they just decided they needed to do something. She said they've spent a lot of time together watching the Golden Girls and Laverne and Shirley in any TV show or movie they don't have to keep their eyes on. Listen, talking, laugh while her sister Vanessa helped them with cutting mask patterns. There's a strike, quickly 0-2 on Miguel Rojas, 1 for 2, 13-game hitting streak for him now.
Ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
One-two pitch. Swung on and skied in the air towards shallow right field. Coming in on this one is Blackman. He'll get there and make the catch, and that'll retire the side. After 4 innings, it's still 4-0 Miami. Rockies offense really needs to get things going. They have McMahon, Hilliard, and Walters due up. Rockies manager Bud Black talking things over with pitching coach Steve Foster. Rockies need the offense to get going. Senzatella gave up 4 runs in the first, but has since been solid against the Marlins. McMahon struck out his first time up. He's struggling as of late. You can see the slugging percentage still at .561. He homered yesterday. He's still been hitting for power, but the batting average now all the way down to .239. And first pitch is a strike on the inside corner. 30 runs batted in on the year for Ryan McMahon, ranked second on the Rockies. He's closing in on Nolan Arenado for the team lead. 0-1 pitch is swung on and popped foul and back to the screen. Quickly 0-2 on McMahon. Earlier this week on Monday, Major League owners approved a proposal for the 2020 season. Article about this at the Denver Post from Kyle Newman. And baseball's return remains on the pandemic's timeline, according to Rockies Players Association representative Scott Oberg, who's currently on the injured list in our simulation. McMahon swings and lines one towards right center field on the run and getting there to make the catch for out number 1.
The left fielder, number 22, Sam Hilliard.
Kyle Eastbell runs that one down. Sam Hilliard, 0 for 1, struck out his first time up in the second inning. Just 2 hits on the year for him. This pitch is a strike. So the short the short, and put it shortly. We'll talk about it after this pop-up foul, and that'll be a nice running catch by VR for out number 2. The owner's proposal calls for an 82-game schedule with a second spring training in mid-June and opening day in early July. And the schedule would feature games against only divisional and regional opponents. For example, AL West would play NL West, and 4 additional wildcard games to bring the postseason field to 14. So Oberg, speaking from his home in New Jersey, said from an American cultural standpoint, it'd be cool to open on the 4th of July weekend. It'd be nice, this is Oberg's word, a nice kumbaya moment for the country. But I don't know if it's feasible or not. The number one issue is going to be health and safety. As of Tuesday, Oberg had not yet seen the official proposal, and he said that the most important part of return to play needs to address testing and the overall logistics required to pull off an amended season where players, coaches, and the large workforce behind the scenes like clubhouse staff, security, grounds crew, media, umpires, etc. can safely do their jobs. Oberg says the financial aspect of returning to play is being given too high of a priority early in the negotiation process. Owners are fearful of huge losses from a half season played in empty stadiums, included in their proposal a 50-50 revenue split for 2020, and that is a stipulation that the Players Association is more than likely to reject. We've seen the head of the union, Tony Clark, has said that's non-negotiable at this point because there already was an agreement on prorated salaries back in March for the players. Chris Owings is going to pinch at the end of the day, as come for Antonio Senzatella, and he only makes it through 4 today. Owings 244 on the year, 3 runs batted in. Pitch misses outside, ball 1. And Oberg said, at this moment we're putting the cart before the horse on that one. It's way more important that they're in position to keep everybody healthy. And Oberg mentioned that there are a lot of guys who have underlying health risks, like outfielder David Dahl, who's been vocal about that. We told you about that in one of the games against the Giants, his splenectomy, and making him more susceptible to diseases like COVID-19. And Oberg says he has multiple autoimmune diseases himself. And there's also families, older coaches, older umpires, lots of things that need to be hammered out before the economic side of things should be. Fly ball to shallow left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Wolters will hold up at second base after drawing the walk, and Owings has been collecting quite a few pinch hits lately. I think that's 3 in a row now. The lineup will turn over for David Dahl, who with one swing of the bat could make this a 1-run ball game. Rockies have really struggled in Miami, as Adam Conley, the lefty, and Ryan Stanek, the righty, are warming up in the Marlins bullpen. First pitch to Dahl is taken high and away. 0 for 2 on the day for Dahl, strikeout and a flyout. 274, 335 on base, 458 slugging on the year for the Rockies center fielder. And that one's just a bit low, 2-0. Oberg said he's 30 years old and he's being extra cautious. He has not only those autoimmune diseases, but remember the recent blood clot issues. He's dealt with that a few times in his career now. Dahl swings and misses. Oberg says he hasn't left his house since returning home in March and is keeping in shape with a mound net in his backyard as well as a weight room in his garage. But he's been staying in touch with his fellow relievers via weekly digital meetings. 2-1 pitch is swung on and lifted in the air to shallow right field. Eastbell camps under it. He will make the catch, and that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still 4-0 Marlins. They have Dickerson, Cooper, and Anderson due up. New pitcher for the Rockies is Joe Harvey. You can see what he did in the big leagues last year with the Rockies. Split time, actually, not only with the Rockies, but had an ERA of 5. Also played for the Yankees a little bit last year. Always mix Harvey and Wes Parsons up a little bit. Parsons was the one who pitched for the Braves. Harvey for the Yankees last year. First pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. Harvey had to be outrighted off the 40-man roster, and then he was selected before his call-up for the 2020 season, with Jairo Diaz no longer in the bullpen, getting sent down to AAA after a really rough stretch for him. 0-1 pitch to Corey Dickerson, 1 for 2 with a double, and this game is taken inside. Just to close the book on that story from Kyle Newman about what Scott Oberg had to say about plans to restart baseball. Oberg said he supports the competitive tweaks in the owner's proposal, such as expanded rosters, the universal designated hitter for 2020, and the larger postseason, which is a format that by adding 2 more wildcard slots in the National League buoys Colorado's chances at the playoffs. Fly ball to shallow left. Hilliard makes the catch for out number 1. Look at the final line, and Antonio Senzatella got better as the day went on. 4 innings, 4 runs on 6 hits. All those runs came in the first inning. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 74 pitches for Antonio Senzatella. Jake McGee and Jeff Hoffman both up in the Rockies bullpen. Garrett Cooper, no official at bat yet today, has drawn 2 walks, also a run scored, .244 average on the year. Harvey's first pitch on its way and swung on and lifted in the air. Shallow right center field. On the run is Dahl. He will get there to make the catch for out number 2. Harvey very solid in AAA to start the year, .295 ERA. He was the first man up. Ben Bowden, one of the top prospects in the Rockies organization, was seen as a potential future closer for a while. He is doing quite well as well, but Harvey has the major league experience, and they want to make sure Bowden has AAA locked down before his call-up. Brian Anderson 1 for 2 with a 3-run home run back in the first inning. First pitch misses outside, ball 1. It's a line drive over the glove of a leaping Arenado into left field, a base hit. Hilliard has a little bit of trouble with it, but quickly fires it back in, and that'll be a single for Anderson. Really struggling heading into this game was Anderson, but a couple hits today. Solid single here, 3-run home run in the first inning. Kyle Eastbell, 2 for 2, a couple base hits for the 23-year-old. He's 7 for 28 now on the year. That's a .250 batting average overall. Harvey's first pitch is swung on and fouled back. And one note on that addition of the designated hitter, I've seen some people say that the pandemic was somehow the excuse that the league wanted to implement the DH across all leagues. Well, it's actually one of the most player-friendly proposals there are. The vast majority of players wanted this universal DH. I'm sure there are some players who don't, that want to be more of a purist, but it helps. There are more players who will have potential jobs now if you want to be a DH in the National League. Lower through 5 innings, Story, Blackman, Arenado due up. It's 4-0 Miami. Trevor Story 0 for 2, ground out and a strikeout. .263 on base percentage, solid .520 slugging percentage for Trevor Story. Rockies offense needs to get things going. 75th pitch of the day is coming from Jose Urena. Rockies have lost 8 straight games. First game of this road trip, Rockies doing much better on the road this year. First pitch is a strike. Story 3 for 13 in his career against Urena. Patrick Saunders of the Denver Post had a mailbag article earlier this week on Wednesday. Pick up some of his questions after the 0-1 pitch that's inside. One question was about Spring Training 2.0 and would any of those games be televised? Lots of obstacles that need to be overcome first by Major League Baseball to make that spring training a reality is what Saunders answers. And there's also actually a question about will those spring training games be against other teams? Because we're talking about home parks, or are they just going to be intra-squad games? I mean, I think it would be fun to see, Antonio Senzatella pitch to Trevor Story, but we'll see what happens. It certainly does not replicate real game action playing in those intra-squad games, though. Story swings, skies one in the air towards left center field. On the run for this one is Joyce. He will get there to make the catch, and that is out number 1 here in the top of the 6th.
The right fielder, number 19.
Sounds like 3 to 4 weeks is what's going to be necessary for pitchers to build up their pitch count for a spring training 2.0.
Ball one, no strike.
Blackman swings and fouls on how to play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swinging a ground ball, pulled foul. Charlie Blackman spoke to Nick Groke of The Athletic, and he said this country needs baseball. Just swinging a foul out of play. Blackman said that he hopes that everyone does not get caught up with money or interests. There's a sliding stop by VR. Rather, that is a Rojas playing over there in the shift. That's out number 2. But Blackman said he hopes that's not either side getting caught up in the money or interest here or there. And the interest should mostly be just getting on the field and playing and staying healthy right now. Nolan Arenado check swing strike. 4 for 18 off Urania in his career. It's going to miss inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bud Black hoping the Rockies can get the offense going, score at least a run in this ball game. Blackman also said that he's surprised at this point that there aren't more confirmed cases among players in the game. Most of the players are pretty far removed from New York, where there is a significant deadly outbreak, but all the teams are playing in major cities. And major cities, of course, are where there's more susceptibility right now. Blackman said a lot of players have concerns, and he is one of them. Doesn't want to get sick, doesn't want to bring people together so that other people get sick, especially those at risk, but at the same time, he's not happy that he's not playing, not getting paid, and neither are a lot of people who work at the stadium. A lot of people depend on baseball, Blackman says. He said, it's our goal to get back on the field and play the game. Pitch outside, Arenado draws a 2-out walk. That'll put a runner on for Daniel Murphy. 57 of 92 pitches have been strikes today for Urania. He hasn't been all that efficient, but he's certainly been effective. He's really cruised through these 6 innings of play. As Daniel Murphy 1 for 2 base hit in the 2nd inning. The pitch count's starting to rise, a few longer plate appearances for the Rockies. Blackman said every player and any personnel involved in baseball's restart would need to be tested and regularly, and any return would require significant sacrifices, not just for himself but for his family too. Pitch high and tight. 2-0 is swung on and pulled foul. Swung on and chopped foul. Murphy just getting a piece. The count is even at 2. 22 pitches this inning have really round up that pitch count for Urania. 96 now. 2-2 pitch to Murphy is swung on and lifted in the air. Shallow right field coming in on this one. And making the catch is Eastbell, and that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-0 Marlins. Alfaro, Joyce, Urania due up for Miami. Jorge Alfaro leads off the bottom of the 6th inning, drew a walk in his first plate appearance back in the 1st inning, otherwise 0 for 1. Primary catcher for the Marlins. Joe Harvey out for his 2nd inning of work. Set the Marlins down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th. First pitch here is inside, ball 1. pitch high, 2-0. Aaron Hurt of Rockspile talked about how the universal DH could help the Rockies in 2020. Talked about that after this 2-0 pitch from Harvey to Alfaro, and it swung on and lined right into the glove of the second baseman, McMahon, 1 away. Of course, Charlie Blackmon has really struggled late at the latter stages of his career in terms of his defense, so he is certainly a player who could benefit from the DH. Get the lineup, get his bat into the lineup every day, and also take away the defensive liability, and then they could have a starting outfield of what is written here by Aaron Hurts to be David Dahl, Raimel Tapia, and Sam Hilliard. And also, players like Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story could get off their legs for a day by sliding into the DH role. Very advantageous for them. There's a strike to Matt Joyce, 1 ball, 1 strike. One's low. Hitter's count now on Matt Joyce, 0 for 2 on the day. Swung on and popped foul down the left field line, out of play. One's in the dirt, full count. Pitcher Spot Urania waiting on deck. He was up over 95 pitches. We'll see if Don Mattingly will run him out there. There's a swing and a line drive towards the gap in right center field. Going back on this one is Blackmon, and that's over a set off the wall. Joyce will cruise into second base with a 1-out double here in the bottom of the 6th. And we'll see who takes the next plate appearance for Miami. 9th double of the year for Joyce. Doubles leaders on the Marlins. Corey Dickerson has 13. Brian Anderson and Jorge Alfaro have 11 now. Joyce has moved into a tie with 9, with Miguel Rojas and Harold Ramirez, and Garrett Cooper has 7 two-base hits. And we'll have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Harold Ramirez.
Number 47, Harold.
4-0 Marlins, bottom of the 6th. Ramirez 254 on the year, 5 home runs, 14 driven in, a 732 OPS. Harvey's first pitch is taken inside. More from Jeff Passan of ESPN about the proposal from the owners. The owners, rather, approving the MLB season proposal after this pitch is high, 2-0. And according to Tony Clark, the executive director of the MLBPA, a system that restricts player pay based on revenues is a salary cap, period. Pitch outside, 3-0. He went on to say this is not the first salary cap proposal our union has received. It probably won't be the last. That the league is trying to take advantage of a global health crisis to get what they failed to achieve in the past and to anonymously negotiate through the media for the last several days suggests they know exactly how this will be received. So that is Tony Clark's estimation of the situation. Washington Nationals pitcher Sean Doolittle went on social media on Monday, and he certainly expressed his feelings on how things are going. Ground ball up the middle into center field, a base hit. Joyce will be waved around third, and the throw to the plate is going to be not in time. It's an RBI single for the pinch hitter Harold Ramirez, and now it's 5-0 Marlins.
Now back, the second baseman,
Jonathan Villar, 1 for 3, singled and scored earlier in this one. Harvey will go to work. Come set. His first pitch to Villar is swung on and pulled foul. Chris Iannetta is right now in the Yankees organization as a catcher. Former Rocky, I'm sure we all remember him. It echoes What he was saying, he's an MLBPA executive board director. Last week he told ESPN it was a line drive fair down the left field line. Over to cut it off is Hilliard. Runners on their way to third and second, and the throw to third got him. Hilliard, nice play, gets Ramirez trying to advance to third. It's going to be a double for VR, though. Now there are 2 outs. Miguel Rojas, 1 for 3 base hit earlier in this one. But Iannetta said there is an intrinsic risk that players are going to undertake if there are fanless games, and because of that, players should get fully compensated for taking that risk for the betterment of the game and the betterment of the owners who stand to make a huge profit off the game. They're looking at a 30-man roster with a taxi squad that would have upward of 50 players available. There's a line drive towards center field. That's going to be a base hit. VR will score. RBI single for Miguel Rojas, 6-0 Marlins. Corey Dickerson, 1 for 3, double RBI runs scored in this one. First pitch misses low. If any ballpark is not available because state or local officials have not approved the resumption of play, Rob Manfred has told owners that he is prepared to move that team to another city to play home games. And according to multiple sources, Manfred has been calling governors around the country to lobby for baseball's return. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, and Maryland Governor Larry Hogan both told ESPN that they spoke to Manfred but declined to characterize their conversations. California Governor Gavin Newsom said during a media conference Monday that he had spoken to the commissioner as well. Newsom said that Manfred told him, "We won't do anything that's not consistent with state guidelines. We certainly look forward to Major League Baseball and all sports resuming, but again, the question is when, and that will be determined on the basis of public health and public safety and the spread of the virus." The swing and a fly ball towards left field. Coming in on this one is Hilliard. He will make the catch, and that will retire the side. A couple more runs across for the Marlins. They now lead at 6-0. 2 innings of work today for Joe Harvey. Rockies have some work to do going to the 7th. New pitcher for the Marlins is Josh Roeder, 19th game of the year, 26 innings. That is a very unsettling ratio, 21 walks to 15 strikeouts. And hopefully this is someone the Rockies can get things going against. Just need to be patient. Ryan McMahon leads things off, 0-for-2 strikeout and a lineout on the day. Very good 878 OPS on the year, mostly due to those excellent power numbers for McMahon. Batting average is dropping down. First pitch is a strike from Roeder. And just to finish that point, we were talking about Jeff Passan's article about the resumption potential for Major League Baseball. It's a check swing. He says spring training likely would not include any games, and teams could get ready for the season at their home stadiums. The 50 players available would be a mixture of major leaguers and top minor league players, with the minor league season in jeopardy. 1-1 pitch to McMahon is swung on and missed for strike 2. It's way inside, count evens at 2. According to Jesse Rogers of ESPN, compensation is not being discussed in Major League Baseball's opening talks with players. Swing and a miss, McMahon strikes out, that's out number 1. There was a multi-hour meeting between Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association on Tuesday, a first step in addressing the complex issue facing a restart of the sport amid the pandemic. Again, the discussion did not involve any economic components pertaining to player compensation. Items addressed, we'll pick it up after this pitch to Hilliard, that's a strike, included timing and logistics for the second spring training, potential rule changes, roster sizes, and transaction rules. A lot of the meeting revolved around COVID-19 testing protocols, including contact tracing and response procedures in case of positive tests. Also addressed were ballpark access procedures moving forward, as well as health and safety issues away from the ballpark. And once the health concerns are addressed, many around the sport believe the biggest hurdle will revolve around the economics at play. There's a fly ball towards left field. On the run for this one, and making the catch is Dickerson. That's out number 2.
Now batting, catcher, Tony.
Again, the Players Association and Tony Clark believe this is a settled debate. They again agreed in late March to a prorated salary structure that would pay players for every game they play this season, not wanting to do any more negotiations on that. The sides also agreed in March to discuss the economics of a season played without fans in the stands. Walters grounds one towards second base. VR makes the play, and that'll retire the side. 7th inning stretch time at 6-0 Marlins. Corey Shembry will sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" for us.
We join it with the traditional 7th inning stretch.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Bud Black out to make a double switch in the bottom of the 7th inning. New pitcher for the Rockies will be Jake McGee. 20 and a third innings pitched, 6.20 his ERA. 17 strikeouts, 11 walks, 315 against lefties, 241 against righties. 24th game of the year for McGee. Garrett Hampson has taken over in left field as part of the double switch. He's now the number 9 batter in the order. Garrett Cooper 0 for 1 on the day. Now, did draw a couple of walks. McGee's first pitch is taken for a strike. Really solid start to the year for McGee, but he has been struggling as of late. Could say that about quite a few members of the Rockies. This 0-1 pitch is taken inside. Tim Collins, lefty, warming up in the Rockies bullpen. One pitch is swung on and grounded towards short. Story up at the ball, throws to first, and that's out number 1.
Now batting.
Highest team ERA, and this has gone up since we last looked at it, either Tuesday or Wednesday. It was 5.15. Now the Rockies are looking at 5.35. Giants scored a ton of runs in yesterday's ball game. Brewers at 4.62. Marlins are among the bottom 7. Brian Anderson, 2 for 3, good day at the plate for him. Single and a home run, 3-run home run back in the first inning. 6 homers, 23 runs batted in overall. McGee into his motion windup, and the 1-0 pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. And swung on and grounded towards third. Long throw for Arenado. Jump throw. He makes the play. What a play by Nolan Arenado. And that's out number 2.
Now batting, the right fielder, Kyle Isbell.
Kyle Isbell, 2 for 3, a couple base hits, 7 for 29 on the year for Isbell. It's a ground ball foul down the third baseline, broken bat. Absolutely shattered the bat of Isbell, did McGee. Another lefty on lefty matchup. We looked at those numbers and odd reverse splits for McGee this year. Let's see if he can get the 23-year-old Isbell. And swung on and skied towards shallow center field. Coming in on this one is Dahl. He'll get there to make the catch. And we go to the 8th. It's 6-0 Miami. Rockies have Hampson, Dahl, and Story due up. Garrett Hampson, batting 130 on the year. Not a whole lot of plate appearances for him at all. 130 batting average, 1 home run of the inside the park variety. First pitch from Josh Roeder out for his second inning of work is inside, ball 1. Adam Conley, Ryan Stanek, the lefty and righty respectively. Double barrel action in the Marlins bullpen. Swinging a foul the other way. Swinging a line drive towards left field, going back, and this one is Dickerson. That's over his head, and it's over the wall. Home run for Garrett Hampson. His second home run of the season, first one that leaves the ballpark, 370 feet for Hampson. And the Rockies are on the board. Good way to start off this 8th inning. 105.9 mile per hour exit velocity. Hampson put a charge into that one. The defensive replacement comes through. He may have earned himself a start tomorrow. David Dahl 0 for 3 on the day. First pitch, swinging a line drive towards left field. This one's hit well. Going back on it is Dickerson. He will make the catch on this one, though, and that's out number 1. So Jeff Passan of ESPN also looked at the potential outcomes for both players and for owners as well, and whose outcome is worse here. So players, because it's bad for both. Players, if they were to lose a season due to their arguments here. Story drives on deep left field, way back and gone. Second home run of the inning for the Rockies. Finally starting to get some offense. Trevor Story, 409 feet off the bat. His 10th home run of the season makes it 6-2 Marlins. 2 home runs off Roeder for the Rockies. 108.2 mile per hour exit velocity for Trevor Story's deep fly ball to left. Take a look at that one more time. Dahl before him gave it a ride to fairly deep left as well. We're going to have a pitching change. Adam Conley, he's struggled this year, 6.32 ERA. Righties are hitting 3.87 against him. Lefties 3.24. 0-1 on the year, 1 blown save. 18 strikeouts and 7 walks. 22nd game of the year for Conley. So Rockies will try to keep things going. They have Blackmon, then Arenado due up now. Here's Charlie Blackmon. Left-on-left matchup. 1 for 3 on the day. Base hit in the 4th inning for Blackmon. Does hit lefties well. First pitch is taken just a little bit low. So for the players, if there were to be no season because the absence of labor peace, players won't get paid beyond the lump sum of $170 million negotiated in the March deal, a problematic issue for the surprising number of players who live paycheck to paycheck. and they lose a year of playing, an item of immense value for those who understand baseball as a profession with a short career span. Also, the free agent market after the 2020 season would crash. The MLBPA may dip into savings reserved for an emergency, such as a potential work stoppage after the current collective bargaining agreement expires after the 2021 season, and agents on whom players lean for counsel don't receive commissions, and some accordingly are threatened with insolvency. So that's what could happen to the players if labor peace is not reached. Fly ball towards right and foul off the bat of Blackmon. For the owners, their revenue shriveled to almost nothing. We're talking mass fringe firings and furloughs taking place. As Blackmon draws a walk, Nolan Arenado will come to the plate. Multiple bankruptcies possible, if not likely, which would either prompt bailouts from Major League Baseball or force owners to sell. And we're talking about franchise values, which have skyrocketed in recent years, plummeting because recovery from the financial hole created by a lost 2020 season could take years. So those are two absolutely terrible outcomes for both sides. So that would tend to put us in the position where baseball would be better served by attempting to play in some form in 2020. Arenado swings and drills one towards the gap in left center field. That ball is going to get down and bang off the wall. Rockies offense showing up here in the 8th inning. Blackmon will be held at third. And a couple runners in scoring position now for the Rockies. Daniel Murphy will come to the plate.
Now batting, the first baseman, Daniel Murphy.
Yusmeiro Petit and Ryan Stanek both up in the Marlins bullpen. Murphy 1 for 3, got a base hit in the second inning. First pitch is high, ball 1. That one's high, 2-0. Bit of a struggle for Marlins relievers here in the 8th. The 2-0 is swung on and missed by Murphy.
2 balls, 1 strike.
So Passan asks another question: how big of an issue is health and safety? Well, it's difficult to tell. If the players wanted to stay away from the compensation issue publicly and focus on health and safety altogether, it would be the easiest messaging win possible. On Twitter, this is what Sean Doolittle wrote. As Murphy grounds one towards second base, Blackmon will score. RBI groundout for Murphy makes it a 6-3 ball game. Arenado moves up to third base, and there'll be a runner on third with 2 outs for Ryan McMahon. Doolittle wrote, "We want to play baseball, and we want to do so in the healthiest and safest way possible to protect our families, our more at-risk coworkers, and ourselves." He asked about the frequency of testing and how non-players would be protected and whether there would be modifications to clubhouses. Any agreement, he said, needs a proactive health plan focused on prevention and reactive plan aimed at containment. Even though Doolittle, who's a very healthy 33-year-old, is not among those COVID-19 typically afflicts, his wife, Erin Dolan, has asthma, and Doolittle said, "We need to consider what level of risk we're willing to assume." 1-0 pitch to McMahon is taken for a strike. That one's outside. Hitter's count now on Ryan McMahon. And that's a strike on the outside corner. Count evens at 2. Swing and a miss. He got him on strikes. Rockies do push across 3 runs here in the top of the 8th thanks to a Garrett Hampson home run, a Trevor Story home run, and then an RBI ground out. It's 6-3 Miami. Alfaro, Joyce, and the pitcher spot due up in the bottom of the 8th. Another double switch for Bud Black. Here in the bottom of the 8th inning, new pitcher. It's going to be Tim Collins, 9th game of the year, 5.14 ERA, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks, 286 against lefties, 154 against righties, 5.14 ERA. been solid.
Playing first base and batting seventh, number 8, Josh Fuentes.
Josh Fuentes is now into the ballgame. He's playing third base, so Nolan Arenado will rest up for the rest of this ballgame. His cousin will take over for him. Pitch outside, ball 1 to Jorge Alfaro. And a pitch low. Swung on and fouled out of play. 2-1 the count. One's low. 3 balls and a strike. Matt Joyce waiting on deck. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic wrote a few days ago, over the weekend, St. Louis Cardinals reliever Andrew Miller said that unless Major League Baseball could assure players' salary safety for the 2020 season, we are wasting our breath with everything else. Fly ball towards shallow right field. Blackman on the run. He'll make the catch for out number 1.
The center fielder, number 7, Matt.
And the league, which made a presentation Tuesday to Major League Baseball's Player Association on how to restart the season, soon plans to present the union with an 80-page document outlining potential health and safety protocols for the COVID-19 pandemic. The document is expected to cover a wide range of topics, including testing, procedures for the possibility a player or staff member becomes ill, and guidelines for clubhouses, hotels, and transportation. Protocols subject to union input and approval. Conversations are ongoing. Swinging a foul out of play. Matt Joyce, 1-2 the count. Baseball's lead medical consultant on the virus is Dr. Ali S. Khan, the dean of the College of Public Health at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Ground ball into the shift. McMahon makes the play for out number 2. Pitcher's spot is due up now. Khan spent nearly 2 decades in a variety of positions with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Most recently, he was the director of the Office of Public Health Preparedness and Response, so that's a good guy to have in charge for Major League Baseball and dealing with this pandemic. Jesus Aguilar, claimed off waivers from the Rays this offseason, former Brewer, is going to bat now. Pinch hitting, .294 on the year, 3 home runs. Solid start for his Marlins career. 11 runs batted in, .849 OPS for Aguilar. Collins' 1-0 pitch is taken high, ball 2. Swinging a foul out of play. The Union of Major League Baseball, Players Association, also in regular contact with medical consultants. They offer a mix of government and research experience. At least 2 agencies that represent players have also enlisted experts to speak with their clients. Excel Sports Management represents golfers and NBA players and baseball players. Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, and Paul Goldschmidt among them. They hired a former commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration and a 20-year veteran of the CDC who does not wish to be identified. Line drive, base hit into center field off Aguilar. A pinch hit single will turn the lineup over now for the Marlins. Scott Boras, he has arranged for a number of medical experts to speak to his players on a conference call coming up on Monday, as Wade Davis is going to come in to pitch. 8.24 ERA on the year for Davis. He really struggled in yesterday's ballgame. 26th appearance, 3 saves and 5 opportunities. This is certainly not a save situation. 18 strikeouts, 4 walks in 19 2/3 innings. Lots of hits given up on the year. Jonathan Villar, 2 for 4 on the day. So Scott Boras, again, his client list includes a lot of players. Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, and Anthony Rendon are among the players making the most for him. Of course, Garrett Cole and Anthony Rendon both taking home sizable contracts with the Yankees and Angels, respectively, this offseason. The players spent more than 2 hours gathering information and asking questions on a wide range of issues regarding COVID-19, including therapeutics, eventual vaccines, and the possible long-term effects of the virus. One player anonymously said, "We want to figure out how safe we can make not only the players, but our coaches who are now in an age bracket with a higher risk, our medical staff, our training staff. How about all the non-uniformed players who help us perform, the analysts, the scouts? We're not just looking out for us. It's not right to just look out for ourselves." 3-0 the count on Jonathan Villar. Pitch from Davis is high. Walked him on 4 pitches. 6-3 Marlins. Rockies scoring 3 runs in the top of the 8th. They would certainly like to see the Marlins held off the board here and get a chance in the 9th. Miguel Rojas 2 for 4 on the day. He will bat. Carlos Estevez and James Pazos up in the bullpen. We'll likely see one of them if Davis reaches the 3-batter minimum limit, and hopefully he won't have to. Hopefully he'll just get Miguel Rojas. First pitch is a strike there. The 1 pitch is in the dirt. That gets through. Walters back to the screen. Runners are going to advance to second and third. It's Villar to second, Aguilar to third on the wild pitch by Davis. 6-3 Marlins. They've got a couple runners in scoring position with 2 outs now. One more pitch like that would give them an additional run. 1-1 pitch to Rojas is taken for a strike on the outside corner. Davis now just a strike away from getting out of trouble. Davis comes set. His 1-2 is swung on and grounded towards short. Story up at the ball, throws to first, and that will retire the side. It's 6-3 Marlins. Rockies have Fuentes, Walters, and Hampson due up. New pitcher for the Marlins trying to get the save is Yusmeiro Petit. 10 saves in 10 opportunities, 1.56 ERA, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. He has been lights out, his 16th game for Miami. Josh Fuentes getting his first plate appearance in the big leagues in 2020, just called up with Raimel Tapia being designated for assignment. In our simulation, not in real life, Yusmeiro Petit, his first pitch to Fuentes is taken outside, ball 1. Fuentes, in case you have not been made aware, is Nolan Arenado's cousin. Tony Walters, then Garrett Hampson to follow. Hampson homering in his first plate appearance of this ball game, coming in on a double switch. Fuentes in on a double switch as well. Swings and grounds one weakly towards short. And that is going to be out number 1 as Rojas throws out Fuentes. Tony Walters will be the batter. He's 0 for 2 on the day, does have a walk. Don Mattingly has to be happy with his club's performance today. Just a bit of a rough go in the 8th inning for the bullpen. Solid start for Jose Urena. Swinging a foul out of play off the bat of Walters. Rockies in danger of falling to last place in the NL West and losing their 9th straight after an 0-8 homestand. 2 4-game series sweeps against the Reds and Giants. Petit into his motion windup, and the 0-2 pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. Oh-2, swing and a miss. He got him on strikes. Rockies down to their final out. And Garrett Hampson will be the batter. Homered in his first plate appearance, coming in on the double switch. 4 for 24 on the year for Hampson. That pitch is going to miss inside, ball 1. And swinging a ground ball foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies just a half game ahead of the D-backs, who are now in last place in the NL West. 1-1 pitch. It's taken low. Hitters count now on Garrett Hampson. And that one's going to miss low. 3 balls and a strike. David Dahl waiting on deck. Should the line be kept moving by Garrett Hampson? Into his motion now is Petit. He's not blown a save at all this year. 3-1 pitch to Hampson is in there for a called strike. Rockies now down to their final strike. Strike 3 call to get him on strikes. That's the ball game. Rockies have lost 9 straight now. Don Mattingly and his Marlins get a win in Game 1. And all the offense they need scored 4 runs off of Antonio Senzatella in the first inning. Jose Urena pitches a very good ball game. Struggles for the Marlins bullpen in the 8th inning. We saw Garrett Hampson and Trevor Story hit home runs. But that was all the offense to speak of for the Rockies today, and a really tough stretch continues for them. 3 runs on 7 hits for the Rockies, 6 runs on 12 hits for the Marlins. Jose Urena 4-3 with the win. Antonio Senzatella down to 0-3 with a loss. Yusmeiro Petit picks up his 11th save of the year. He's perfect. Urena is going to be player of the game. 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, no runs allowed. Antonio Senzatella in the loss, 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 strikeouts, 4 runs, 3 walks, and the save. Yusmeiro Petit gets 2 strikeouts in his inning of work. On offense for the Marlins, Brian Anderson goes 2 for 4 with a 3-run home run in the first inning. Corey Dickerson 1 for 4 with an RBI double and a run scored in that inning as well. And Jonathan Villar goes 2 for 4, a couple runs scored. Matt Joyce 1 for 4 with a double and a run scored. On offense for the Rockies, 1 for 4 with a homer today for Trevor Story. Garrett Hampson comes in as part of a double switch. Ends up going 1 for 2 with a homer. Nolan Arenado 1 for 3 with a double. And Charlie Blackmon 1 for 3. He scored a run as well. Well, thank you for tuning in. Ben Kuchner-Kavich for Purple Row, and I'll let you know this broadcast is not affiliated with Major League Baseball, MLB The Show 20, or the Colorado Rockies. We'll give you a look at the box score before this game is over.